Babangida is on record of being the meanest executioner of so-called coup planners twice. During the alleged Vatsa coup of December 1985 and during the April 20, 1999 purge of Major Gideon Oka.
If Gideon Oka coup had caught him.
42 young officers were executed despite the pleas from the world. Babangida executed them, wanting to make it known plainly to everybody in the armed forces that if you fail, you get a death certificate.
Babangida that took away his best man, Mamma Vatsa, he killed him.
The son of Mamma Vatsa, till tomorrow, insists that his father was honest or not guilty of the allegation against him. Even the wife, they are all still standing on the denial that Mamma Vatsa didn't plan any coup against Babangida. More so, not only Babangida's best man, the man who got the entrance form to NDA for Babangida. So you have to beware of friends. There are many lessons to learn. Beware of that man, your so-called closest friend. Because when Nzeogwu was rounded up in Kaduna and put in detention, he still insisted that there will be war between the North and the South, and that he was going to lead the war of the North. When he heard that Ironsi had been invited by the Senate in Lagos, the Senate president was Senator Nwafo Orizu, who invited the head of the army to take over. And Nzeogwu said no.
Was that invitation voluntary?
It was constitutional because they met. The Federal Executive Council quickly met.
Did they have any option?
They didn't. The
military boys were already on rampage.
They didn't. And when they were hearing, and the things were getting clearer, that Nzeogwu was a revolutionary, and he didn't care a hoot. And they read the speech at that address, 100%ers, and he said they were going to deal with them. They quickly assembled and said, please, head of the army, come and take over.
You could see the way he took Ahmadu Bello out.
Oh.
That was, something I don't want to read about it.
Nzeogwu was a favorite of Sir Ahmadu Bello, because not only was Nzeogwu born in Kaduna and given the middle name of Kaduna, Chukwuma Kaduna Nzeogwu, he was the typical Hausa man. Language, character, fashion, and all. There is a picture of Sir Ahmadu Bello hugging Cadet Nzeogwu.
But why was Nzeogwu so hard on him?
Because when they planned the coup, I had the opportunity of interviewing late Major Ademoyega, 1981, 42 years ago, on my program, Speak Out, at the NTA Ibadan. It's just like yours, current affairs program, 30 minutes. And that was the first time Major Ademoyega will come out in public, because the radical University of Ife lecturers and students had invited him to deliver a lecture. That's where I caught him. And the recording was done in the residence of Dr. Yemi Ogunbiyi, who was then a lecturer in Ife. I remember what I went through. Twice the recording was stopped by the radical lecturers. They said, look, you are an agent of the Shagari government. They stopped the interview twice because I asked the question, sir, that's Major Ademoyega, why was there no Northerner in your team that carried out the first coup? He answered. I think the radicals were. When I asked another question, they said, no, stop this recording. Get out from here. Agent of Shagari government. Why are you asking him? But level-headed Major Ademoyega, he said, please, let him ask me any question, I will answer him. He's doing his job. Let him ask the question the public probably wanted him to ask.
Is it that Ojukwu did not know that a coup was going to take place?
Well, one may get feelers, but no coup planner will be, sorry to use the word, daft as to expose their plan. So it's always kept close to the chest, known only to the inner members of the planners. So Ojukwu wasn't aware, but it was already in the air. As of December 1965, anybody could pick that Nigeria was getting to the precipice.
Operation Wet Year
Oh, God.
must have been the trigger.
That was it.
Because when we discuss the Civil War,
Yes.
we tend to forget that the problem started from the Western region.
Because of the unnecessary intervention of the Tafawa Balewa-led federal government into the affairs of Western region.
Sending Awolowo to prison.
Thank you. Then number two, Action Group Party, like any political party in the world, had internal crisis, whereby the party leadership expelled the deputy national president of the party, Chief Samuel Ladoke Akitola, who happened to be the premier of Western region. So the contention was Akitola should abide, because Nigeria was running the parliamentary system then, should abide with the constitution. That is, once your party says you are expelled, then you go to the polls in the assembly and you test your popularity. But if the odds is against you, you go. But Akintola refused to go.
He was backed by the federal power.
Because he had run to Ahmadu Bello first and then Tafawa Balewa, and they promised him, don't fear. If they expel you on paper, they won't be able to expel you on the ground.
And those three musketeers were taken down by the so-called Igbo military officers.
Yes, they were. But
were they fighting for Awolowo?
From the record and his history background, Chukwuma Kaduna Nzeogwu was a revolutionary, like the Sankara mode. So he was sincere. That's why his speech generally was talking about corruption, and corruption. But if only the Ironsi, the head of GOC of the army, had not been given power by the Senate, and Nzeogwu had led the revolution. But why did Nzeogwu stay back in Kaduna to kill his mentor?
It was a revolutionary.
Yeah, as it were. Because most of the officers backed out. Who was going to face Ahmadu Bello? Who? They said, no, not me. So everybody backed out. Then he said, I will.
He walked into his bedroom.
He said, he will.